Hello garden friends, and welcome to another weekly update in my garden. It is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do a video last week because we had a funeral to attend, as well as we had the really heavy Canadian wildfire smoke. So just walking across the yard to the garden was like giving us instant headaches. And I'm like, I don't think it's wise to be outside doing a 10 to 20 minute video of the garden or really doing anything in the garden. So we just kind of hid inside. Before I get started inside, let me show you a fun outside surprise I got today, as my dog decides my brown-eyed Susans are a great place to roll. Don't you love dogs? Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah, you're squishing my stuff there. Yeah, you can smack it too. Oh, geez, who knows what she's rolling in. Anyway, over here I discovered today bok choy. Yes, I have a random bok choy outside of the garden, which I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try and put this in a pot or leave it here, or who really knows what I'm going to do with it. For now, it is marked with a stick so that I know not to walk under there and step on it. Hanging out over here with, you know, the thistle and a little random tomato volunteer that's only so big. Wait, where'd it go? It's so small, I've lost it. Oh, there it is. Yes, it's so tiny, it's only like 2 inches tall. You know, and hopefully my dog doesn't step on it because my dog's being a dog. Over here, the clematis is starting to die back really badly. I'm kind of sad about that. But I do love the hoosicle kind of whimsy of these things. They're really fun. In here is all the oregano, which is growing like mad. And the bees absolutely love it, which is fine by me. I do have a little honeybee actually right there as I'm talking to you. I do have this little tray that I've put here for them, which has dried up today, but I put a water dish in with some rocks so that the bees will have something to get some water from. I will fill that up when I'm done with this video. Anyway, where should I start? I guess I'll start in the middle because I'm right here. I've got some random fleabane. I've actually found my paths in the past week, which we all know that this time of year you quickly lose your paths. Over here we've got the chives, which are beginning to do another bloom. Very exciting. And some random things in there. And then we've got the strawberries. So this was one variety of strawberries that I've had for several years, and a new variety I've just added this year, which is just strawberry. This is supposed to be one that goes like all summer. This one is just strawberry, so I don't really know what I'm going to get with that one. It has flowers all over it, so I'm guessing it's not a solely June bearing strawberry. This, I actually just got a strawberry off of it yesterday, which my 4-year-old was very happy to eat for me. Over here, so these are my sweet potato vines. They're getting really big now. They're very happy. And the last time I did this video, I think I showed you that they were actually over here, and I've just moved them. Something tickled me. Sorry. I've just moved them because I wanted them to get a little more sun. They were getting a little crowded with the beans. And since I've last shown them to you, you can see I've actually got the flowers on them. So this is celosia, and I thought it had died, so I'm very happy to see it did not, and is very happy now. And this has gotten like triple the size since moving into a pot from the original pots it came in. Over here, these planters are looking really good. My lantana did not die and did bounce back. Very happy about that fact. No signs of any flowers on it at this time, but the leaves are very happy and it's big. And I've also moved this, so this was kind of tucked in that corner there, and I've moved it over here where it's going to get more sun. And the flowers are looking quite happy, and hopefully this will also be something the bees will enjoy since the bees are all hanging out there. Moving along over here, I've got a random, I think a blackberry or something vine here. You know, perfect place for it. I tripped over it earlier and went ouch because it got me in the ankle. Fun. Anyway, this first planter here, we've got the tomatoes, and they do have tomatoes growing on them. They're pretty small right now, but this is supposed to be a larger tomato variety. Oh, actually, I can see a couple bigger ones hiding under here. There you go. So there's a couple bigger, not much bigger than a cherry sized at this time, but they probably aren't going to do anything until like August. Next to it is the acorn squash, which is actually climbing all the way up here now. I've just relocated this vine yesterday to try and get to grow in the trellisy thing. I always seem to forget that these things will overhang into the pathways. So I often wish that I had made the pathways wider. But I'll just have to walk around it or go another pathway. That's the good thing about this garden, is that there's like multiple ways to get anywhere. So it is what it is. Walking around this side of it, I do have an acorn squash. Oh, here's tomatoes right here, doing really well. And the acorn squash is right there. So there's my first acorn squash. Exciting. Next to it, I've got the purple Cherokees, and look at them. And for size reference, you can see that these are actually getting quite large. These ones were in my last video, so they've been growing for a while. But last video, I did not see any on this plant. So I am very happy to see that this finally has some. You can see they're a lot smaller than the other one, but they're going. So I'm happy about that. Little random tomato plant is stuck in here. It was actually in that planter there yesterday when I moved it over. So I was like, oh, volunteer tomato. I'll just stick it in here. If it lives, yay. If not, no loss. Is what it is. Going around here, we'll look at this planting box next. So right on this side is the cucumbers. I do actually have a bunch of cucumbers that I've harvested the past week. I would say probably like 6 or 7 or 8 or something. And you know, I've just changed the numbers on that real quick. 7 or 8. And then on this side of it, as I'm getting poked by the extending blackberry there. Oh, that's prickly. On this side, I do have a cucumber that it probably could go in with me, or I could leave it another day. And there's another one all the way at the bottom that I saw earlier that I'll pick later. On this side here, we've got the tomato plant, which this is supposed to be a bigger type of tomato as well. It's not doing the best. And this is one of those more patio style tomatoes where it stays more compact. So I've got 2 of them here. They're staying more compact. They're doing all right. They're not totally thrilled. You can see I've got the damaged leaves there that I probably should come out and snip at some point. The plant behind it though, that's pretty much toast. This was the 4th of July. I did pick the tomato off of it a day or so ago and brought that inside because it had blushed. But the actual plant is pretty much toast at this point. And I'm not sure whether that was a location issue, a sunlight issue. It could have been a number of things, but it just never really did well from the beginning. So I'm amazed I even got a tomato from it. On this side here are the Romas. So the Romas are actually making a ton of tomatoes. So let's come down here and you can see how many tomatoes are on this Roma. And this is just one plant here with this cluster here. There are 3 plants in total, so this particular tomato cage is that one. And you can also see that this dang thing is escaping into the pathway because why not? The tomato cage I had for this is only this tall, so unfortunately I'm probably gonna have to go get some more of the stakes that I have all over the place and get a stake for here to keep it off my pathways. But it is what it is. I'm very happy to see that it's making tomatoes, even though they're taking their sweet old time to turn red. At least there's tomatoes. The Marconi peppers have no sign of any peppers on them. So I'm kind of sad about that they're taking so long to do anything. It did have buds here, so I don't really know if that was like the flower just fell off or what, but they're like really delayed for doing anything. As I'm talking to you, I'm getting hit in the head with this thing. So these are the mystery tomatoes. I know for a fact The one on the end is red, so this one over here is red. I have harvested quite a few cherry tomatoes off of that one, and these ones over here this week, so they are all red. I am hopeful that one of these other two will be purple, because that would then be the, I think, either third or fourth year in a row of volunteer purple cherries, and I really like them. They're really sweet, and I love to just eat them straight off the plant as I'm out here. So I am hoping that they will grow again. Since these plants are taking longer than the other ones to ripen, I'm wondering if they might be purple, just because the red ones have ripened already over the past like week or two. Behind me here, so this one's the acorn squash and this one's the butternut squash. Unlike the acorn squash, which you can see is making little acorn squash on it, nothing is going on with the butternut at this time. I actually was kind of concerned about that, because I was just looking in here the other day, and this little bud right here was looking like it was going to become a butternut squash, but I had a funny feeling that it was going to die instead, and it did. So I don't really know what's going on with this butternut squash. Like, you can see it's very big. It's really growing, so I don't know why there's no squash on it, although there actually might be hope right here in the middle. As I'm talking to you, I haven't seen this one before. Right there in the middle, right there, has the potential to be a butternut squash. So we'll see if that one actually does something, because that's way bigger than this little nubby thing that I saw up here. So I'm hopeful that it's pollinated and I'll get butternut squash, because yay. At the base of the butternut squash is supposed to be my bush beans, and you can see why I decided to do it this way, because then I've got this tall thing in the middle and then the bush beans all around it on the bottom. Unfortunately, a lot of them ended up turning into pole beans. Let me talk about that for a second, because I don't think I've updated since I got news from Burpee. So I did reach out to Burpee. I said, hey, my bush beans are turning into pole beans. Can you tell me what's going on with that? And they said that they're having issues with the bush beans staying bush because environmental factors are stressing out the plants. Environmental factors could be the amount of sunlight they get, the amount of water they get, how much nitrogen's in the soil, the temperature outside, you know, things that you really can't control all that much. And they said that the plants are stressed out by it, and they turn into pole beans as a result instead of staying as a bush bean. Their way of solving this problem is they created a new variety called I think it's called Blue Bush Supreme. I know it's something with Supreme, and I know it's got something with blue in it, so I think it's Blue Bush Supreme. So I did get the seeds in for that like 2 days ago, so I haven't had a chance to do anything with them yet. But I am probably going to have to come through here and remove all these stupid pole beans, because they really can't be here. They're really going to compete with the butternut squash here if they are pole beans instead of bush beans, because the bush beans will stay down here where they should. So that's a challenge I'm going to have to figure out, how much I'm going to remove, how much I'm going to replant. Yeah. So that's a to be determined issue. Turning around here, I've got my 2 sunflowers, and they're both double sunflowers because something nipped the stem all the way at the bottom here, and as a result they split and became a double sunflower on both plants. So the ones on this side over here, they are all singles, as they're supposed to be. These would be singles if something didn't chew on them. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, space-wise, it works out perfectly, because I did plant multiple in here and none of them grew except these 2. But it kind of sucks that if I had the amount in here that was supposed to be here, I would probably have too many now. We were talking about peppers earlier. Let's look at these peppers. These are the hot cherry peppers. Right now I have only green ones. They will eventually turn red, but you can see lots of peppers are on these plants. So every plant has some peppers. Even this plant is like a little smaller than the others and still has one big old pepper on it. So there are a dozen of those in this section here, and I'm looking to have a pretty good harvest based on how many are in here right now, so I'm happy about that. I have had to come through and stake the dang things because they like to fall over when we have the windy days, which we've had way too many windy days this summer, and we'll see how that goes. As far as like other factors of weather, you can see I still have the shade cloth up. The reason I kept it up was two reasons. The first being that it took 3 of us to actually get this stupid thing up because it's a 20 by 20. You can see it's like over top of my plants, and it was really challenging to actually put up there. The second reason is because I left it up a week, and everyone's like, oh, it's time to put it up again. We're going to have another heat wave. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it up until I have to take it down. Because if we're going to keep having like the heat waves and stuff, I'd rather it just be covered and not worry about it. It's only a 40%, so it doesn't seem to be having any negative effect on my plants. So as long as things continue to look okay, I'm going to leave that alone for right now. Although I will say that when the wind isn't blowing, this is starting to touch the tops of these tomatoes right here because they're kind of big now. They're actually taller than me. I'm almost 5'8", and they are now taller than me, so I'm like, oh boy, they grew up really fast. The tomatoes I'm not all that concerned about. What I will be concerned about, though, is if my corn over here starts touching it, then it's really going to have to come down because I really don't want messing with the corn. Let's do the Three Sisters update as I'm getting hit with the tomato plant as I walk through. I did actually tie it up yesterday so I could walk through this pathway. Anyway, let's look at the corn. The corn is doing really well. It is now like significantly taller than me. As I'm talking, I actually see like a stink bug type thing on here. Oh, go away. Anyway, the corn itself is looking pretty good. It hasn't fallen over too bad because of the beans. The beans have actually been doing their job in keeping the corn from falling over. Anyone who's grown corn before knows that this stuff is a pain in the butt and it will just keep falling over. I will at some point get some stakes and put some string along it just to make sure it doesn't fall over. But overall, the beans are really doing a good job of anchoring it, and I haven't had that problem very much. I have had one over here that was falling over. And my way of dealing with it was I got the beans and I kind of looped the beans back onto the one on that side. So the beans are actively working as a trellis and keeping the corn upright. So that's pretty cool. Now, as far as how the beans are doing themselves, that's a different matter. So let me come down here and show you this. So the beans are having some kind of issue here where they're getting like all this spotty leaf thing going on. And it's not so bad on this side because I actually came through and removed most of the leaves on the bottom half here that were all spotty. But on the other side, which I'll walk around so you can see, those are ones I haven't really pulled out yet. And this one especially, it kind of is this weird not green color, like healthy green, kind of like a brownish green here. For comparison, actually you can see like this leaf right here for color comparison. This is what the leaf should look like. This is what the leaf does look like. And then it's got all this modeling kind of spotty thing going on. So I'm not sure what's going on with this. I did post in the garden group and it was suggested like, hey, maybe you should like remove the affected leaves. I did remove the affected leaves on the other side, but now I'm seeing it all on this side, and it's like all the lower leaves of almost every plant here. So I'm not sure what the cause is or what the solution is. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it at this time because the lower leaves are looking awful, but all the upper leaves are looking perfectly fine. So I'm just going to hope for the best there. Oh, jeez. As I'm talking to you, I can see this has leaf miner, which is probably not helping. Then I see something's been chewing on this. Might be, what are those things called? The Japanese beetles like to come over and chew once in a while. I don't see very much damage. I just see this one leaf chewed. And then I see the leaf miners. So this one's got leaf miners. That one right there has leaf miners. So I will probably come through and remove any of these leaf miner leaves because, yeah, fun. Oh, goodness. On a good note, though, these are the zucchinis down here. And they are looking good. So there are 4 of these. There's 1 here, 1 there, and then 2 on the other side. And these got planted around the 4th of July week. And because they were planted late, they are probably not going to have any issues with the squash bugs. So anyone who has the zucchini and the squashes knows that like the squash bugs can be a really big problem. These should not have any of those issues just because they were planted late and somebody said, hey, you will have a later harvest, but you won't get the squash issues because of that. So I am happy about that because I was worried that maybe I planted these too late and they're like, no, you won't miss out on a harvest, you'll just have a later harvest. So yay, that's a good thing. Surprisingly, I haven't had the squash bug issue so much here. The stem of this one is looking kind of rough. Like if I look in on it, let's see if I can get the camera to focus down there. And of course there's a leaf in the way. You can see the stem isn't looking awesome, but it's not looking that bad either. Like in the sense of usually if it's actively got bugs, the plant really suffers. You can really tell because the whole plant will just have this wilty kind of look and it won't look right and you'll have to remove it and you'll just be like, oh, well, that's a loss. This plant does not have that going on. So even though the stem is looking kind of rough, the one next to it's looking kind of rough too, the leaves are looking great. They're nice and big, the plant is actively growing, and it's making fruit, and the leaves are not doing a wilty thing. So as long as it's still looking like it should, I'm going to leave it go and just hope for the best. I am happy too. There do seem to be a lot of active hunting spiders this year. So as I like walk around, as I weed, I keep seeing them like skitter along here. And I'm sure most people will be like, oh my God, there's spiders everywhere. Ah! And I'm just like, oh, I've got spiders and they're hunting bugs. Like, yay. You stay outside and don't bother me in my house and we're all good. My husband's an arachnophobe. I'm always dealing with spiders on his behalf. I hate it. Anyway, let's look at this over here. So I said last time that I've got the random mint plant that is on my path, and it is still on my path. It is still on the to-do list because the other weeds are so much worse. Like, look at my path now. What path? There is no path. It's just weeds. We all know how that is this time of year. The Romas are doing great. Oh, wait, sorry. These are not Romas. These are the Marianas. And the Marianas are a hybrid of the Romas. That's why I just said Romas. They look like Romas, but they're bigger. So the Romas that I grew before were not this big. And if you saw the Romas that I showed earlier, they are not as big as this either. These ones have actively been blushing. So I have a whole bowl of these in the house. I actually have enough that I could do a batch of sauce with it if I wanted. So I am quite happy with this variety so far. I've gotten a harvest from it. They are actively producing. They are giving me fruit way earlier than the Romas, which aren't even looking like they're close to doing anything yet. So I am really liking this variety that I'm trying out this year. Would I grow this or Romas again? I think based on current success, I would do Marianas next year versus the Romas. So we'll see how the end of the year feels. But right now, I'm very happy with this variety I tried out. And I would do them again. Versus the Romas over there, not really doing much. I mean, they finally have tomatoes on them. Checking this week. And that's the first time I've really seen much on them up to this point. Speaking of not really doing much, so all these little things here are marigolds. You can't tell because there's no flowers on them. Normally by the end of July, the marigolds have done something, And I wish they were flowering because they bring in the good predator bugs, and I'd like to have more pollinators in here. I'd like to have more predator bugs in here actively doing things, but I don't. So I don't really know what's going on with that. These were planted at the same time as everything else in this box. They were all done at once. So the Marianas went in was like the second week after Mother's Day, I think, like right at the beginning of June, I think everything got planted. So beginning of June, all that went in. Marigolds went in, the basil went in, and it's kind of crazy that we're now into the end of July and they're just big bushy things with no flowers on them. It's really delayed. Speaking of delayed, I am kind of confused by what's going on with the basil here. So all the basil were planted at the exact same time. Look at the size of this basil. Big basil, right? Look at the size of this basil right next to it. And then that one. And then there's one over there, hiding in there. And then if I go around this side, like the difference in size of all these basil planted at the same time is kind of crazy. There's a little one right there. And there's one here, which you would think this would be really big because it actually gets sun in this spot. But no, it's this little tiny thing. But then this one over here is looking good. And this one here, which gets even less sun, is bigger. So what's going on with you? Oh, and then if you want to really talk about what's going on with the basil, planted the same day as those, the same day. Look over here. Look at the sad little basil right there. And there's one right here. But that one right there is this big. And they were all planted at the same time. This literally has nothing to compete with for shade. It gets sun, and it's tiny. But it makes me think maybe I should just buy basil going forward, because this one here I bought at the grocery store because I accidentally thought I needed basil for a recipe and I didn't. I actually needed spinach. Don't ask, I have no idea. But anyway, I bought this basil plant at ShopRite and it's looking fabulous. Like, I could harvest off that if I wanted to. Not that I have enough to make pesto with, but I have enough there that, hey, if I just want to throw some basil into some dinner, I could. And then the one next to it's not too bad. Right there. I did plant some over there. I actually planted a whole row here. And, oh, look, actually one came up. I thought that nothing came up. There's one hiding right there between the leaves. So that's very comical. All right, have I covered everything? No, I haven't. The fig. Look how big the fig is. It is doing amazing. Want to know why it's doing amazing? Because I gave it coffee again. Yes, you can laugh. Go ahead. So we had a cake and coffee over the weekend for my kid. And like only one person drank coffee after I made it. So I had this whole pot of coffee. I'm like, you know what, fine. I'm just going to pour a whole pot of coffee on it. As well as I brought the coffee grounds at the same time. So you can see the coffee grounds are all sitting right here on the pot, or in the pot. And I swear, just a couple days since I've watered this with coffee, it's gotten bigger again. So, tip for anyone growing figs, they apparently love coffee. This is a tip given to me by my next door neighbor. She gave hers coffee and it got big. So she told me to do it. And ever since I've done it, whenever my mom's over and has a cup of coffee, I put the grounds on it and it gets bigger. Like, every time. It's the funniest thing to watch. Next to that, I actually didn't realize until I was just standing here talking to you, the lantana. Look at that. This actually has little flowers on it. So you saw the other one wasn't really doing anything yet. This one has 4 little flowers. So I am really excited about that. So people who know me know that something I love about lantana and why I grow it is I love that the flowers change color as it grows. I just find that absolutely fascinating, and I grow it just because they're really pretty to me and I really enjoy that. Like, every time I come out to check on them, it's like, oh, it's turned a different color. So that's a favorite flower to me, just, I don't really know why. I just saw it one day and fell in love with it. So I've been growing them for the past couple years just to enjoy for my own self. Like, I don't really care if the bees like it or anything likes it. It's a just for me plant. Oh, looks like this might be working on doing some sunflowers, maybe. I can't tell if that's the start of a bud. Actually, as I'm talking about buds, look at this. There is a sunflower bud. That is so exciting. I actually went to check on these a couple days ago, and there was no sign of buds on them yet. Anything on this one yet? Nothing on this one yet, nothing on this one yet. But yeah, there's my first sunflower bud. What's funny is I had like memories from like last year and the past 2 years pop up on Facebook, and I had sunflowers that I was posting every night going like, oh, look at my sunflowers. And this year I'm like so behind on the garden that the sunflowers are like taking their sweet old time, and I'm really getting a good feel of like how behind the garden is this year with the late sunflowers. But to be fair, I would have actually had a sunflower by now if a vole or something didn't eat the one that I had in that box there. So where the tomatoes were that I was showing you earlier, I did have a volunteer volunteer sunflower there, which I was so excited about. And then when it was almost a foot tall, something bit it off at the base, and I was really mad about it. I was so mad about it because last year all my sunflowers were volunteers, and I had like a whole bunch in this bed here, and there was one right here that we actually got a measuring tape and measured it, and I think it was like 11 feet tall, and we were so impressed with the height of that thing. All right, I think I've actually covered everything. Thank you for joining along. Please like this video so that I know that people are seeing it, and subscribe if you want to follow me for more updates, because I like to do this every week so that I can refer back as well. Have a good time and see you next time.